Hello, happy bros. Hey, you're about to get a face full of the Ken Bozak. He's a mentor. That's what I heard. He's a connector. Oh, yeah. He's a brilliant leader. I've seen it. He's Ken Bozak. Oh, happy bro. You gotta get some Bitcoin and hold it. Happy bros. You gotta get those NFTs and you gotta hodl that stuff. You gotta hodl it. 'Cause I'm Ken bro. We got your Bitcoin, bro. He's an original. Buy some NFTs and hold them. How many times does he have to tell you? Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. 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 Yeah, we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Bro, we're going to the moon. Oh yeah, we're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. Real high. Yep. Real high. Hello, happy bros. Come get some Ken Bozak.
And we're live. How goes it?
GM, Mr. Ken. How you doing?
Doing all right. Just settling in from a tour. Like 6 conferences in a month. I'm mentally drained, man. First show since the rodeo. I had to do maintenance on the laptop the other day. That's still probably going to overheat after this hour. Definitely got to get a new computer.
I would love one as well. But yeah, I've seen you. Other than where I saw you, I follow you. So you have been everywhere. I'm kind of old, and one conference knocked me out for a week. Watching you is, I won't say it's exhausting, but it's cool to live vicariously anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, just don't jump off the bridge with me, you know what I mean?
Right on.
Not an influencer in that sense, more of the content creator, I jump off the bridge for your entertainment, not to convince you to do it with me, but yeah, I wouldn't try to convince anybody to go to that many conferences. I think it all started with the Bitcoin conference.
Yeah.
And then Tokenize, Consensus, Solana Accelerate, BCH Bliss, and now I'm finally home.
Golly, you gonna call a favorite or any highlights that? I mean, you got a dozen. You could probably jump into stories and favorite moments, but dang, you are everywhere.
Yeah, I got to get the gang together so we can do a recap because it's like pretty much a blur at this point for me, man. I feel, sort of like a fear and loathing kind of when I think about all the moments and memories. I'm gonna make sure I need some verification.
Who's your
Did that
gang?
really happen?
Like, I know McToshi.
Oh yeah, Miggy,
Or-
Double O Tats, Bobcat. We were all rolling around to the conferences together. And then, Double O had, the Bitcoin Cash community jump in with Steve from Cash Stamps, Clissy from Celine Wallet. They were, tagging along with the gang too. The gang just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Cool. It's once or twice a year that I'll pony up and can afford to go to a conference myself. So Vegas, and the last time, I think the might have been the first time I saw you in person was Rare Expo last year, right after Vegas, or Tokenize, one of the two, right after Vegas last year. But anyway, we've bumped
Yeah.
fists, shared a vape a couple, 3 times together now. You're generous. You're cool to hang out, man.
Appreciate it, man. Well, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? Let them know a little bit about who you are, how you got into crypto, and what you're doing now with the Buckazoids community.
Rock on. Yeah, Buckazoids, thanks for the shout out. I love your whole creative background here. Is like one of the most amazing things I've ever seen because we have met in person. You've got a shirt or some swag. You've done a little research, DYOR. There's a legitimate case that this current meme coin, poop coin on SOL, Solana, has a narrative and a lore that goes back a good 20 years before the white paper of Satoshi Nakamoto as a potential inspiration or origin story for Bitcoin. That's not the answer to your first question. How I got involved was you've got the UFO and a couple other things up. It's known I'm Guy Malone in Roswell, New Mexico. Been here off and on over 20 years as a UFO missionary, somehow counter cult research, people that make a religion out of aliens or say they all created us. I'm sort of the stick in the mud to them. I'm the more conservative biblical view. I'm the weirdest Christian. Like I'm not welcome in most Christian circles or whatever. The not yet ready for prime time player, fringe lunatic is my Christian field. But I've written publicly and all this and lectured, invited conferences of Christian pastors, theologians to talk on UFOs and aliens. That's why I'm in Roswell. That does not pay very well, cutting to the chase. So somehow or other, as a waiter bartender for my whole career with no savings, I learned of Bitcoin about 10 years ago. I can say class of 2016 because a friend walked me through Coinbase app over Messenger and I bought $10 worth when it was just under 400 bucks. I did not hit repeat biweekly. I'm not a Bitcoin millionaire. I was heavily in debt at the time, living in a trailer, and could not justify $10 a week at the time. But I had no conviction about Bitcoin. I just knew that if I want to take the time to study it, now I know how to buy more. So it took a couple years, honestly, before I really dug in again. Eventually got certified because once I understood Bitcoin, this is the thing, man. This is what everybody needs. It fixes the money. It fixes the world. It buys your time back. Everybody needs this. So I got evangelistic about teaching it. And finally, by the time our paths had crossed, you saw me at conferences on a press pass. I landed work at the Roswell Daily Record newspaper, the same newspaper, yeah, that recorded the 1947 UFO crash in Roswell. That paper, it's on our wall and everything. We sell T-shirts and logos and reproduction newspapers. I got work there as a copy editor only because I learned AP style copy editing from Bitcoin Magazine freelance pool. I applied to one of their ads and twist of fate got hired. So I didn't go to college for journalism or anything. I was a bartender with an attitude and waiting tables. Learned about Bitcoin, doubled down and decided this is what the world needs. So I got a certification. And certification didn't mean anything. You're OG enough to remember back when we were all simping on Swan, trying to get careers in Bitcoin. Yeah, you remember. So that's my era that I was working for Bitcoin Magazine freelance through Telegram pools, just copy editing their some of their articles and web page stuff. Anyhow, that ran out as everything did after the FTX crash. And I later applied to my local newspaper that was operating without a copy editor. Low pay, 15 hours a week, but I would have done it for free for the title. Copy editor at the Daily Record. So, and I'm in the UFO industry, so it was just, it was a providential infiltration. So, cutting to the chase, being the annoying Bitcoin guy that I had been for the last 5, 6, 7 years, they knew good and well I was going to ask to start writing a column. I mean, I had a desk there with a telephone job and sick pay and everything. But they let me begin writing an educational, pro-teaching, FUD-busting Bitcoin column. Apologetics would be the Christian term for it, but introducing Bitcoin to no-coiners in Roswell who are old enough to pay for newspaper subscriptions still. That's who I was writing and teaching Bitcoin to weekly. You saw me because I had assembled the first 21 in a hardback book, and I was walking around getting signatures, no cap, from Senator Cynthia Lummis, Peter Schiff. I've got about a dozen now, counting this year's. Added Lynn Albrecht, Ross's
Nice.
mom. Uh, I got the book itself is a collectible scarcity now with a dozen signatures. I don't have like Michael Saylor or Jack Mallers. That's who I was going for. But so last year, 2025, Las Vegas Bitcoin Conference, me on a press pass. There's a girl in a space outfit pitching Buckazoids as the origin of Bitcoin. I recorded her for 2 minutes, did the work, jumped on X Spaces with the community, interviewed them. I'm not a journalist. Again, I'm a columnist. I don't write articles, I write columns. Big distinction. It's a very professional distinction. I can't say I write newspaper articles ever, but I got convinced that this is the inspiration origin of Bitcoin because a Redditor, you know the story, don't you? Do you want to pause or ask me
It's
anything?
1991
Yeah.
Space Quest 5 or something.
Yes, Space Quest 4 or 5, the game.
4.
The game came out in, I think, 6 cartridges, I guess we called them back then, 1986 to 1991.
And it
Different
shares
adventure.
just a similar logo. The logo looks identical to the Bitcoin logo.
Exactly. The digital
So
back
Satoshi was
then.
probably a gamer, right? And
Yeah,
played
bingo. Yeah,
Space Quest.
you've cut right to the chase. The simplest explanation here. There were developers affiliated with the company that published the game. One was named Satoshi Iwasaka. One was named Rodney Nakamoto. And Hal Finney has obvious screenshot. We bring all the receipts as historians. Hal Finney was affiliated with the game as well, on and on. But the in-game currency that Roger Wilco, the hero, the not the captain of the ship, he was the space janitor, but he earned and he paid for Buckazoids with Buckazoids for everything across the galaxy. There was no exchanges. Back then, if you were playing video games like Mario Brothers or whoever, you were picking up sacks of cash or diamonds and rubies and gold coins. It was all physical, even in digital video gaming back then. Space Quest comes along with some cipher nerd or cypherpunk mailing list people, screenshots and everything, and starts using a digital currency that's inflationary and deflationary, used without exchanges, border to border. And it was also a time travel game. That's what's fun. So the opening game said, these are Buckazoids. The more you have, the better off you are. They could go up in value over time. You could. There's a clip of paying 7 Buckazoids for a hamburger, and
Oh
paying
shit!
two. Yeah,
So there's like a pizza guy, like Laszlo for Bitcoin.
kind of actually, yeah. We have a running Buckazoids guy, and we have a guy buying a hamburger paying with Buckazoids in a video
That's
game.
awesome.
That's a
Who was the
good
first
perspective.
person that noticed this like similarity? Who's like
I
is
should
there
know
like
his
a
name,
person
Big
that was
Chief.
like I noticed
Redditor.
like there who a redditor noticed like there's
Yeah, it
somebody
was a.
who
I should know his name, being this involved with the project. I publicly apologize to whomever
well,
he
do
or
you
she.
know around when it was
Yeah,
noticed? Like how
yeah.
long
This time,
ago?
March of last year, we're just over a year old. He was playing the game literally, and he did a screenshot
Wow.
of, hey, what is a Bitcoin logo doing in my Space Quest game, in my video game? Because he was playing a game that was issued, and people were playing it 18 years before the white paper came out, 1991. It was a coin logo, not physical spent, but a coin logo that got transferred, and it had three things in the coin: a B with two slashes through it, a rocket shooting straight up, and the number 59. 59 was how many Buckazoids you got at the beginning of the game. Like your Monopoly, $200, you got 59 Buckazoids. Why 59? It's a rabbit hole with a 12-point list, but it's a prime number. It's a safe prime. It's a
I mean,
dual
just as
prime.
arbitrary as 21 million.
Kind of, but it's baked into the Bitcoin core into some of the SHA code and it's also used a bit in cryogenics. Hal Finney
Oh.
is in cold storage right now. The same wording we use for keeping your Bitcoin decentralized. There's a whole transhumanist vibe that companies newly. People, when you asked about the Redditor, I love in a poetic way of saying two things about Bitcoin being so institutionalized these days and away from its cypherpunk, no KYC ethos, is that um, one, Honey Badger was never intended to be caged by Wall Street, Trump, or whatever. I see this fresh origin story take on Bitcoin as it was discovered right now by a Redditor. But what he's discovered was that Bitcoin itself was conceived, it was test netted, it was chatted out in groups. We all should know that there's a nice prehistory of Bitcoin chart that shows you 40 years worth of inventions and noteworthy papers and eCash and B Gold or whatever they were called, Adam Back and all the greats, 40 years of development. And we are tongue in cheekily adding a 5 year window, 86 to 91, where these people were playing Space Quest together. They were all gamers who were on a small mailing list in Bay Area, living in each other's basements and pouring coffee in their Red Bulls and, and how many of those people existed in 1986? They all knew each other. It was a very interbred community, we'd say. But we do have the screenshots. And me as a writer covering a conference, I was not OG. I got added on a couple months into it. But the way I say it is that Bitcoin was originally invented by geeks and incels and cypherpunks. And despite the NSA and the FBI and the New York Times and the KGB trying to uncover who is Satoshi Nakamoto, poetically, it was rediscovered on Reddit by geeks and cypherpunks and incels because that's who it's belonged to the whole time. And now we've taken it back. We've got the origin story narrative now. And I was LARPing as a Bitcoin maxi as could be. Like I said, working for Bitcoin Magazine, aspiring to other Bitcoin maxi employment. I love the ethos. I had several months or a year and a half at a incubation firm in crypto, like working with crypto projects, Reply Guide, Telegram, all that, writing content for their socials. But I saw a lot of pump and dump and too much scammery, and I wasn't discerning enough to know the good ones from the bad without spending hours of research. And to me,
Yeah, by that time it's not even worth it.
Bingo. It fell into just buy Bitcoin and go have a life is where I settled. Buy Bitcoin weekly, set up your auto, whatever, and go have a life, hobbies, and keep saving over years. Don't worry about the 1,000 to 1. But I met the Buckazoids, and I'm like, not only is it a meme coin that's under a penny. What I did learn in the crypto industry, I hope I'm not talking too fast or too much.
You're the guest, bro.
Oh, thanks. And yeah, I was really curious in hearing your story too. So I'm glad you told me about the conferences before we got started. But as far as the history itself of Bitcoin, I realized this was the real deal. And I learned when I was in the crypto industry, there's 3 elements. This is me talking to my dad, explaining this. I'm in my 50s. My dad's still alive. And trying to explain this to him, I'm like, the saying, don't sell the steak, sell the sizzle. The number one thing you have to have is a meme coin lacking real utility, function, a reason for buying it, is you got to have a narrative and a story that's just top notch, off the charts. You got to have a community that shows up on social media daily, pumping it and conversing and this, that, the other thing. And I learned this like from the early testnet to mainnet. Man, I'm going back as far as like IOTA and Matic before it was Polygon. That's what we were studying. What makes something actually moon? I would say any consistent traits. And the third one was IRL. You got to show up in real life. You got to be accessible. People want to shake your hands. They want to get selfies. They got to hear from you. You got to be able to answer questions or cosplay. And that is how I got introduced to the Buckazoids. A girl in a cosplay suit who had an elevator pitch that was worthy of recording and going home and writing a whole column in the newspaper on the origin.
That's what I tell people: contribute to communities with something that's tangible, right? Whether it's a article, content, cosplay, whatever. Like you said, write music, do whatever. Tattoos, shout out to Double O Tats. But yeah, contribute with something that's tangible. And So do you think that Buckazoids is tapping into something more nostalgic or more something like a prophecy?
Both are true, actually. The rabbit hole is never ending. I've been affiliated with it for a year, and just like Bitcoin, I still don't think I know everything, and I don't think I ever will. But there's a layer where there becomes too many coincidences, for one thing, when you really have studied the rabbit hole of Buckazoid's connection to all the Bitcoin cypherpunks, like people who don't want to be found, who disappeared rich already and therefore don't want to be found. And we are screenshotting their emails and knocking on their mom's doors, and not literally, not that literally, but using social media to reach out maybe to people that don't want to be bugged. Um, I'm kind of speaking in hyperbole there, but what I mean is, restate that question for me because I know I'm rabbit trailing somewhere else in my head already.
I was just wondering, if you think that Buckazoids is tapping into more of a
Yeah,
nostalgia or more of something along the lines of the prophecy, considering
prophecy.
that,
Thank you.
1991, it feels pretty nostalgic, but like you said, how many people really knew about it at the time? So is it really nostalgia, or is it more so in the sense of like tapping into the prophecy side of things, considering 18 years before the logo was created for
Right.
Bitcoin? At least the inspiration, it was never mentioned, but we didn't really have much time with Satoshi before the CIA got involved and Satoshi went on a sabbatical.
Yeah, you're in good hands now. No, everyone that hits this rabbit hole gets just blind, or their eyes are almost dazzled by the sense of prophecy, and this is coded and it's destiny. We all, as part of my interview process of getting to know them and interview the OG day oneers, not the actual Redditor person. There, what happened was somebody literally did a quick pump and dump based on the lore and the story from the day one Reddit, I think March 27. And they got in and out with maybe 70 grand or something like that. But the community actually stayed because we believe we're both on to truth and history, but every one of us can individually tell you a story of how we got drawn into this as like a life mission. um, we're hodlers in the sense of we think it's going to moon. It's under a penny. 1,000x in our next few years is not unreasonable to believe. But we also just feel called. We show up every day, compelled to tell the Lord, not shill the coin. Even as an investigator trying to write a column, they did not shill me the coin so much as I had to start asking questions about the dev. I had to start, where do you buy it and all that stuff. They'll give you some for fun just to onboard or whatever. It's penny, like I said.
It's like the Doge days. I love that energy.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that. I was probably had the maxi stick up my butt. With I work with LDA now, who's part of Doge Chain and Litecoin Foundation, LitVM. Not foundation, but LitVM, the incubation for
Yeah,
Web3.
Litecoin Summit's going to be in Amsterdam, bro. I really want to go. I'm trying to see if I can make the logistics work out. That's going to be a good conference.
I love your approach. Sponsor, bro. I
Exactly.
got to think
Exactly.
that
That's
has
how I
happened.
got to BCH Bliss. The Bitcoin Cash community sponsored me to go there, and I got to go to Consensus thanks to Base Gold and Celine Wallet and some Cash Stamps helped me out. And yeah, man, it was just communities helping communities and stuff. And yeah, I mean, what was the token launch like for Buckazoids? Is there like a treasury or a foundation? Is there like a dev with a bag that's just helping the community
There's
do
not a
shit?
dove. There's actually two wallets because the story, the narrative was so powerful that they landed a table at the Bitcoin conference last year. Even though being a Solana shitcoin, of course the conference said no right off the bat. And dude was Adam, I think, was like, "Give me 5 minutes." Told the story that you've listened to and studied yourself. They're like, "Okay, we'll take your money." And they gave us a table, or they sold us a table. Sold them. I wasn't there yet. And one guy had to form an LLC and pay $4,000 for the table. So everybody threw in a little money, and they printed some merch and shirts and gave away as many as they sold. That's what we do. And but then there's another guy who I would say, um, I'm a one percenter. I honestly, I got convinced enough as a Bitcoin maxi on Father's Day, to be poetic, I kind of swapped out about 1% of the market cap of Buckazoids. But I've learned the people I talk with and hang out and do X and who showed up at the events, both years, they own more than me. There's 1, 2, and 3 percenters there. So as a community, aside from this, we use the phrase coded. This is destiny. Even when we fight, or even when we know crypto is a pump and dump, I said one time on X, these are people we're going to wind up burying, or we're going to wind up hugging one another's widows, because there are those of us that are always going to have a chunk that we're never selling because it's under a penny now, and that 59, our mystic number, there's those of us that aren't going to sell until it's 59 cents. 059 would be 100x right now. 5 cents would be 1,000, and so on. But it's a long-term hodler mindset because we believe it is destiny. It's too easy to tempt ourselves. We've used the catchphrase, you missed Bitcoin. What if you had the chance to buy Bitcoin for under $1? This is the origin of Bitcoin. This narrative, as long as there are new people learning about Bitcoin for the next 100 years, the origin of how did it all get started is always going to be of interest. So
That's why I'm a shitcoin maximalist, man. It really doesn't matter anymore in the sense of Bitcoin BTC itself. The technology exists in so many different, flavors, different, logos, different tickers. And the adoption right now for mass adoption is so small. We're still like 5% or whatever mass adoption. I mean, Michael Saylor owns like 4 to 5% of all Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's just the technology is open source. It doesn't matter. You don't need to use BTC. You could use Buckazoids and do all the same cool shit, right? So I think the opportunity, right? It's there for everybody. It's in that sense of like build a community, because there's a reason when you go to the store you don't just see Coke or Pepsi. There's Sprite, Mountain Dew, and all the other flavors are just as profitable on the shelf.
Orange Fanta, baby.
Everyone's got a favorite flavor, and that doesn't mean that there's only going to be one on the shelf that wins, right? And that's what I try to tell people when I say, like, I'm a shitcoin maximalist. It's really anything but Bitcoin BTC. And if I could use the same technology to do the same things, why not use Dogecoin or Buckazoids? You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are going to, not want to put more money into something that's just going to make Michael Saylor richer. So they're going to want to play with something that's more along their playing field.
You met at Consensus, one of our people that was at Vegas, Kat, Project B59, the shirt you're wearing, you said that she gave you from Consensus.
She's actually wearing a party.
Yep. Yeah, she's dawn to party. She's at the parties, but she's also there in the morning, man. She rocks it. But she is building an archive. She has her own decentralized network. Like, she can't be taken offline, whatever. And right now she's recreating games, but her day job and overlap, she got a bar where she lives to accept Buckazoids. And I have a friend that owns a rocks crystal shop here in Roswell. He'll accept Buckazoids up to $100. And he's also bought Bitcoin at my advice for a couple years. But what I mean is, you're right, as far as, doesn't matter if it's Doge or Buckazoids or Bitcoin or seashells, whatever we agree on and that I believe I can turn around and get more of what I do want, okay. Or hold and let it go up in value, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you mentioned work on real world utility as well as being able to spend Buckazoids. That's sort of been
liquidity. I feel like a great Buckazoid shirt would be liquidity matters.
Yeah, that would.
I like that there's the like you said, the rocket ship also. That's part of the original Buckazoids logo in game, and you're really into like the UFOs and stuff out there in Roswell. And I was wondering, have you been abducted, or do you know anybody that has been abducted? Have you heard any like firsthand experience stories out there?
That's why I'm here, dude. I moved here after publishing a book in the 90s about my experiences, which I came out of the closet with on.
Well, congratulations for coming out of the closet.
Rock on. There's a Heaven's Gate UFO cult suicide. 39 people in California killed themselves in the 90s to
Are
allegedly
those the
hop on.
Nike shoe people?
Yes, yep, you got
Yeah,
it.
that's the
Yep.
only reason I know their name is because I can't find those shoes anywhere.
Well, they took them with them, I guess. Maybe they canceled the rule. Yeah, no more.
Yeah, they killed the shoes, man.
Too bad. Too bad. It was kind of tragic, but I felt like I knew what they were looking for when they joined the cult. But I kept my experiences to myself. But after their Heaven's Gate suicide, I posted a web page because they claimed they got instructions from the Bible somehow. And I'm like, hey, it's a free country. You can believe that all you want to. But I'm going to post a web page saying what I believe about the Bible and heaven and how to enter. And killing yourself to hop on a UFO is not it. So somehow or other, uh, without really meaning to, again, no school, no education, just a weird calling falls in my lap to where now I'm in Roswell, New Mexico, teaching people that um, there's not really aliens, it turns out. My experiences and that of a UFO researcher, Mutual UFO Network, dude in Florida, who is his job has been to work for NASA as a safety specialist, and now he works for Blue Origin, same title.
Oh
But
wow.
he's a UFO abduction researcher, and together we publish and actually do like public lecture conferences in Roswell on UFO or alien abductions. Stop in Jesus's name. I'm one of the examples, and his website, he has over 100 people that tell their story of like getting dropped in bed when they called out to Jesus, to where it finally lends itself. I know you were kind of like throwing a dart with the question because I'm in Roswell, but that is why I'm in Roswell. We actually teach people that there's not really aliens. He has over 30 years. I have over 20 years of research and like door knocking, talking to people.
So like
Uh,
alien disproval.
Sort of, actually, not disapproval that there's something going on, but disproving that it's from other planets in origin. It's always been here. I wrote in the 90s, 500 years ago, little people with big black eyes that would take you from your bedroom and then take you to the woods, poke you in the private parts with magic wands and have lewd sex, and then take you back to your room. They were called elves and fairies and gnomes and incubus and succubus and so on.
Yeah, the
And what
stories have always been here. It's just the characters
that's
in the stories always seem to change.
bingo. You get it. And that's not a popular thing to say today because, I want to believe is the narrative now. It's cool to believe in aliens. Um, when I sit here and can publicly say I'm an experiencer, I have an autobiography that you can read that describes what happened in childhood. And then I grew up and found out, no, I'm pretty sure that was demonic because now whenever they ever try anything, no, and it's not like I'm paralyzed by superior technology. That's the belief from Steven Spielberg and everything.
Yeah.
And even the abduction community that does research and lecture, they that's what they say. You're paralyzed by superior. No, it's called sleep paralysis. In medieval times, it was old hag, the hooded woman who sits on your chests, and it could be incubus as well, sexual related. Anyway, all this that's termed alien abduction, the same story has a different name 500 years ago. But back then, you knew if it was happening to you, you went to the church for help. You
Yeah, well,
needed
wouldn't
deliverance.
that be like the devil's greatest trick is that, for its demons to convince people that they're not demons but aliens? Like, that way
Yeah,
they don't have to believe in God if they do see a demon. It's like not proof of the other side, right? Like, that's sort of
bingo.
like what I think, demons and the devil and all that have to tread carefully along those lines is like, if they prove themselves exist, therefore the opposite must exist. There must be a God, there must be angels, and yeah, again, it'd be easier to say like they're just trying to trick y'all into saying alien instead of demon, so you don't have to say you can believe in angels.
Bingo. Yeah, if demons exist, then angels and God. You've nailed it on the head. So instead of revealing ourselves as demons, okay, we'll be elves and fairies to this generation. We'll be aliens. We'll be aliens to this
The elves
generation.
and fairies.
Well,
I can just
I
picture
meant
a
elves
demon
and
like,
fairies.
I'm gonna be a fairy, bro.
Elves and fairies, yeah. And then, yeah, aliens in our generation.
Yeah, Oz the Crypto Goat, exactly. It's all the same thing. We just use different names to describe what we don't understand exactly.
Isn't it such a crazy age that we can just so blasé talk about that topic? And all right, what else? What's going on, man?
Well, I
You
mean, like, so when people relate technology to alien technology like fiber optics, what are your thoughts on like who helped with that? Is that like demon technology then, or in that
Oh, that's a
sense?
great question. You really drill right to the heart of it. I mean, I've sat through hour lectures that say what you just said, but they take an hour to say it. That's great. I've probably given one myself. Um, there's a famous book from the 90s called The Day After Roswell by Colonel Philip Corso, whose testimony, deathbed, was that I think in the 70s, he was given a filing cabinet that had all the Roswell secrets, basically. And his assignment was he learned that they were all farmed out to American technology, fiber optics, lasers, like you said. Um, However, I actually do a public talk. I've done it 10 times almost in Roswell alone during our UFO festival that presents a man made view of, you probably know these words, Operation Paperclip and Nazi UFOs. That in World War II, they were already developing what we later called the stealth bomber, the same design. I have a video at alienstranger.com. This is my non crypto, this is my real me before I even got into Bitcoin, of a lecture comparing what the Nazis were working on, photographs in 1944, compared to what the Roswell witnesses drew that they cleaned up. And it's a dead up match. And it's like case closed. And then I do the same with the bodies and human experimentation. And there's a memory metal too called nitinol that I get into. Anyway, I do it in an hour and I've never been booed or have anybody in the back going, oh, well, you forgot about this. No, 1 hour, I literally publicly explain the Roswell crash is man made and it wins people over. But the question that comes up, well, where did the Germans get the technology?
Right.
I successfully like win the day. It wasn't aliens, it was just us. And UFOs aren't being covered up. UFOs are the cover up. They want you to chase aliens for 50 years because you'll never get to the military industrial complex by chasing aliens. So they'll send you that way. There's CIA plants in newsrooms and UFO conferences that spill these stories. Back to
So
Roswell,
Mulder was right all along, bro.
kind of. They have a X Files episode called Paperclip with the old German Nazi scientist.
It used to be one of my favorite shows growing up. I remember the movie, and I'm allergic to bees, so that whole
No way.
bee scene really fucked me up as a kid. And now every time I see bees, they're like government drones set out to kill me because like I'm allergic. So like they might as well be a lion to me. Like it can kill me as much as a lion can kill somebody else. A bee can take me out, man. And yeah, X Files, that movie really got to me. Anybody else? Anybody in the chat?
I'm not allergic. Do you carry a pen or whatever for bee
No,
stinging?
I feel like that. Nope, that manifests. That's like you know what I mean. They say once you have a gun, you find 100 reasons to use it, type shit.
Yeah,
I
that
feel like
invites it.
it invites it exactly. I don't want to manifest it. I've never carried it. I've been stung a few times, but I feel like carrying it only increases the manifestation of it happening.
Wild.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
pop a couple Benadryl if I need it or something.
as long as that'll save your life, as long as that'll help, great. After, okay,
We
you're
gonna
right,
find out.
right. There is a occultist named Helena Blavatsky who many cite as channeling occult powers in like the pre-World War II Germany, which sometimes when people go down the Roswell rabbit hole and they end it with American or other technology, problem, okay, case closed. It really was just tech. But that question of where did that tech come from, because it was pretty advanced for the era, and there is a connection to that. Helena Blavatsky, not the Rosicrucians, but something else. That would be my off the top. Here's the facts answer to a good, very insightful question you brought up before we change that topic entirely without me answering for you.
Sorry. Somebody in my chat just said, if stung by a bee, wait 20 seconds and drink your pee. The antidote is there.
You know you're going to Google that.
I have to. I
I
have
know.
to. Oh man, I
Oh
love
wait,
that.
we'll wait if you want to. Cut and paste
Ah
it.
man, that's great. I feel like the pee drinking is trolling. No shit, bro. No shit. That's hilarious though. 10 out of 10. Oh man.
God, I've
So
said some crazy stuff. Am I getting trolled yet? Come on.
So, when it comes to like the game and everything with like aliens not being aliens, but maybe closer to demons, and when aliens help with technology, it may be more nefarious than we know. Is Buckazoids necessarily, or potentially, I should say, is Buckazoids like potentially something along those lines that would be, you know, backtrack to like alien technology or potentially like demonic like foreshadowing, sort of like how politics they like to desensitize us to shit over like media over the years, and the next thing you know 20 years later there are fucking robots delivering your food down the street, and a couple years ago it was just Will Smith in a movie, so I'm sort of desensitized to the idea altogether. Is
Yeah.
this something that potentially has the same historical outcome?
Well, look at you just cutting to all the questions in my soul that keep me up at night, dude. That's crazy. And the desensitization, I think, is real on Hollywood, Star Trek, Steven Spielberg, ET. Like the government wants us to believe in aliens, probably for fake alien attack reasons, stuff like that. I go that way with that part of the conspiracy. But the Buckazoids or the I don't think computers, I mean, that's what it boils down to. Computer code, it's free speech. We know there's a Supreme Court ruling on this. Um, Buckazoids, free speech, computer code is not demonic any more than smoke signals or hieroglyphics or anything else we use for communication. All we're doing is communicating data back and forth. Computers, the most demonic thing you might, if you're Amish, you would bring electricity into that conversation all of a
Hmm.
sudden.
Yeah.
An Amish person would say digital currency. And if Buckazoids is the origin, there you are. But what's keeping me up at night now is what I alluded to earlier is that the transhumanist movement, which Buckazoids clearly is, Hayekian, high Hayekians. Hal Finney was one. The other names, Phil Stallings, or Solins, I'm sorry, on Buckazoids World on X, I just reposted something from Project B59. She's got a thread going on Phil Solins and kind of the origin of this thing. And I'm loving it as a historian, researcher, curiosity killed the cat kind of rabbit hole going down. But I am, as a Christian, I'm asking the questions. Is it okay that, the origin here was they wanted to upload their soul, their consciousness, or whatever to cheat death? Some would say cheat God, obviously, and to have their consciousness in a decentralized, unhackable continuance. And so, in in that quest, they realized, well, we need to do the same with our money. And that if Hal Finney were to wake up right now, if he is truly has the keys to Satoshi Nakamoto's wallet, is the recent, trendy who is Satoshi, and that agrees well with the Buckazoids history. We actually think that's true, actually. But imagine waking up with 1 million Bitcoin, and being the richest all of a sudden. But the question that started this is, wow, being this in the heart. It's not demonically inspired technology, demonically in the way that we were talking. Some things are now, especially military and industrial complex. But from the eternal questions point of view, it was. It seems to be invented as a way to cheat death, and then be on top of the world still and take your money with you. Good or bad, neutral, man. I'm up late wondering myself sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned earlier on in that with the desensitization with Hollywood and using aliens and stuff like that. It goes back to my earlier, thought in, again, if there's something similar to the rapture and people were to start seeing something as opposed, like the apocalypse starts taking place, it would be proof of demonic, existence. The devil is real. The hell is real. Therefore, I can believe in God. I can repent and all
Repent.
this stuff. But if I'm convinced that it's aliens and not the demons and hell and all that, then It would be a lot harder to be, subconsciously thinking, oh, I can repent. There's a heaven, right? I'm thinking aliens. So it could just be, again, like a distraction in the desensitization, not just one, but a multi-layered kind of, psyop.
Well, yeah, obviously you've been digging into these topics for a long time. Nothing coming out of your mouth today is the kind of thing that comes off the top of someone's head just because we're talking
I'm
about
just good at
UFOs.
being an interviewer, bro. I'm winging it. I'm winging
You
it.
no, no, you've done this. You've read something before. You've thought this before.
Well, no, like I said, I've always been into alien space and stuff like that. But
Well, yeah,
I would hope I'm pretty good. I've been interviewing people
you are
in
excellent. Yeah.
different things for a decade now. So this podcast is 10 years old.
Wow, congratulations. I kind
Thank
of
you.
10 years old. There's not many things I can say I've done for 10 years, but not positive ones anyway. Man, that's a great accomplishment.
Appreciate it. But yeah, it's definitely something I've been interested in. But yeah, I always try to let the audience know it's like sort of sitting down with somebody at a bus stop. I didn't really prepare anything too much outside of checking out Buckazoids when I was at the conference. And somebody told me about the video game, and I was like, I remember hearing about it somewhere about the video game thing, and then I remembered the logo looked the same, and then I saw you on the calendar. And I was like, oh, this is going to be fun because it said UFOs and Buckazoids, and this is
You-
not another Bitcoin podcast, so that is perfect.
yeah, we can go way off of Bitcoin, stuff like that.
Yeah, and dude, I mean, that's where I was thinking, like, with the fiber optic technology, Roswell, and everything with the timing, especially with
Oh,
SHA-256 being something that, nobody thought possible with the Byzantine. I'm just like, yeah, if not, again, if aliens aren't a thing, it's almost like, is this something that is nefarious technology, right? Like I always, saw decentralization, open source, unconfiscatable, and I was like, yeah, all that's cool until like the 1% start using it. Like I was like, yeah, everybody wants to like end the Fed, but like, what if the Fed just downloads this and starts using it? Like I didn't
yeah,
know much about it at the time. I was like, they could just download
Sailor.
Bitcoin and use Bitcoin, right? Like exactly. So it's like, yeah, it's totally been co-opted. Like it's compromised as fuck. It's centralized
Which is
now.
actually why your shitcoin maximalist theory is excellent. Because if Saylor and Trump and Wall Street co-opt Bitcoin Core, we'll spend Dogecoin and Buckazoids,
Yeah,
unicorn
I've been
fart
trying to
money.
tell people sell all your Bitcoin and rug the rich. Let's make Michael Saylor poor. We can all take down
You
MicroStrategy
know,
together. We can
I
totally take them down, dude.
because Buckazoids has this way of getting Bitcoin maxis to part with their money and maybe even DCA a little bit because it does really feel like a second chance at Bitcoin. Like I said, as long as Bitcoin is used and popular, where it came from and how it started always has a place in the heart and to be told. And you get to pitch, you get to shill your elevator token, you know. And we don't do that anyway. What I mean is the story attracts. So it's not. We always say $10, 100, about fun money, whatever that is to you. You don't sell chairs and rearrange your portfolio to buy Buckazoids, but that's what Bitcoin is for, allegedly, and stuff like that. But as far as the next rocket or the second chance at Bitcoin, if you always say, I wish I could have bought Bitcoin at a dollar, I bought $10 worth when it was $400, but I didn't continue then. If I could go back in time, Buckazoids in all of memedom really has that honest chance of having uh, that always going up with Bitcoin factor because the story will always be relevant as long as Bitcoin is. I forgot your question, but it's good. It's good to pitch my coin while I'm here.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely a fan. I like again anything but Bitcoin. As long as we can take liquidity away from BTC, and we can make the rich a little less rich. I'm on a big campaign of trying to convince the 99% to stop procreating with the 1%. Because if we stopped having sex with billionaires, eventually there won't be any billionaires, or at least they'll have to become inbred like the royal family, because nobody wants to breed with them anymore. So if we all publicly opt out of breeding with the 1%, they'll eventually become like an extinct species in our storyline, right? Like,
Well, as an ugly guy who that's really not ever going to happen, I will join you in solidarity that I will not breed with a billionaire.
yeah,
Now,
thank you.
19-year-old
Everybody
girl,
matters, man.
convincing a 19-year-old girl who's got a nice body but not a lot of other options to join the same bandwagon for life might be a
I
little hard.
know, trying to convince her not to go to Leonardo DiCaprio's fucking yacht's gonna be real tough, bro.
Right, right. I'll finish because you did remind me is that I like teasing that Buckazoid, the biggest threat to Bitcoin's market cap is Buckazoids itself, the origin of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin doesn't want to be, or Honey Badger doesn't want to be caged. So it's back in the hands of the geeks and the incels and the cypherpunks. And Buckazoids has that unite the clans community vibe that, there's a lot of tribalism, and then there's a lot of all communities, you know, both are true, but man, as far as finding a hidden treasure, the
Well,
community itself
well,
is.
why Solana though? I'm just curious because
Oh, good question.
there's so many options out there, and I'm just curious why the community decided, or maybe the dev, like why Solana?
I don't know why the dev chose that. Probably because it's easy. But anybody involved with the community now, we don't have a dev. We're a community capture or a CTO, community takeover. Nobody involved with the community that holds the wallets, that is on X every day, posting, made that decision. They didn't agree or disagree with it. We were never presented with that. That's the hand we were dealt. Buckazoids exists as of March 27 last year or 8 on Solana. Here's its market cap, and I've had Grok, Super Grok, actually run the numbers. A year later, how many meme coins out there, no utility, have a $500,000 market cap still going? And Grok and GPT both say it's like in the 0.1% of tokens that a year later, because all what you're asking, Solana, devs, that's all pump and dump mentality, and we don't exist in that world. Many of us know that world. Some of us have been pump and dump shillers and scammers, probably. I'm not accusing my own community, but we all know the crypto industry that pump and dump and coordinated stuff like that is part of how we can make money other than just buy Bitcoin and hodl, which doesn't always work on the 1 year plan anyway. But no, Buckazoids is it's different in that sense that it's meant to be a long-term community hodl uh, because we just think it's always going to go up. None of us are ever going to dump 100%, especially I wouldn't say in a coordinated way at any given time, because I have my goals, I have my plans, retirement. Like I said, I'm freaking old now, and I'm doing other crazy manic stuff in my life. If I can go on X and pump Buckazoids for an hour or two a day and turn 100x over the next 5 years, that's gravy, man. We all know the crypto industry is people that like to sit around, drink, and shitpost all day, and they're
Yeah,
creative
man.
enough to
But when you
play
do
with it.
this, exactly, get out there, if more people in the community were out there on more different podcasts, and shout out to Crypto Princess, much love, thanks for tuning in, and everybody, yeah, it helps
CP.
contribute, right? So, I guess we could kind of wrap things up here. Let people know where they can get in touch with you, find you, follow you on socials, and where they
For
can
sure.
get in touch and join the Buckazoids community. Is it like a Telegram, Discord, website?
Well, there's officialbuckazoids.com, and we also have a link tree. I help run the X account at buckazoidsworld.com, and my name is Guy, but I lost my original X account, so I am also Rich and Friends is kind of my professional, my writer, my Roswell Daily Record columnist. I have a couple books coming out now on columns I've written. I actually have 21 newspaper columns on Bitcoin, and
Oh,
then
wow.
21 newspaper columns on Bible, supernatural faith, and angels. They're
That's
both
one hell
coming
of
out
a
right now.
Bitcoin number right there, 21.
Perfect. Yeah. Rich and Friends. It's hard to do. RICH, capital N, FRENZ. But Buckazoid's World is what I'm mostly talking about today. And they invited me in as community as a latecomer, but we're just a decentralized bunch of equals, bag holders that are here working on X pretty much and then we're high fiving each other, hanging out in community.
Yeah, you guys are an awesome community. It was fun running into you guys at the conference. I hope I see the Buckets community at more conferences throughout the year. And hopefully more, maybe other people in the community want to come on the podcast, talk a little bit about, something else outside of Bucketsoids and Bucketsoids as well, because this was a lot of fun, guy. Thank you.
Yeah, I can get you the tech guy that and Kat that have done the whole background of the transhumanist Hayekian movement. They can go for an hour easily if you like that
Oh,
topic.
that would be awesome. Yeah, send them the calendar link and have a day, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, comment, do all the cool things that show digital virtual love, and yeah, have a day.
Thank you.
Hello, happy bros. Hey, you're about to get a face full of the Ken Bozak. He's a mentor. That's what I heard. He's a connector. Oh, yeah. He's a brilliant leader. I've seen it. He's Ken Bozak. Oh, happy bro. You gotta get some Bitcoin and hold it. Happy bros. You gotta get those NFTs and you gotta hodl that stuff. You gotta hodl it. 'Cause I'm Ken bro. We got your Bitcoin, bro. He's an original. Buy some NFTs and hold them. How many times does he have to tell you? Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. 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 Yeah, we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Bro, we're going to the moon. Oh yeah, we're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. Real high. Yep. Real high. Hello, happy bros. Come get some Ken Bozak.